Did you know, Chris, if the Panthers won the last two games, they'd be one game back of Atlanta for the top spot in the NFC South?
Man.
That's how close.
Man. There's still a scenario where they can make the playoffs.
Which is weird. But hey, if there's a franchise that knows how to make the playoffs and win a division with a below 500 record, it's the Panthers, baby.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews.
Locker room insight.
Ready? Let's huddle up.
Let's just do it, okay?
For Panthers Playbook, driven by Carolina Ford Dealers. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Give your thoughts right now in the comment section on the Carolina Panthers and what their future looks like, because that's what we're talking about right now, even though we're going to dive into what's happened recently, Chris. But before we get started, Carolina Ford Dealers, your sponsor of Panthers Playbook. With a Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. Chris, if you look at the last four games, a 1-point win against the Saints, overtime 3-point win against the Giants, a 3-point loss at the buzzer to the Kansas City Chiefs, and a 3-point overtime loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past Sunday at Bank of America Stadium. That's 4 straight games decided by 3 points or less. The Panthers are 2-2 in them. Now, granted, they lost the last two, but for a young team and a rookie head coach that's developing, still want to see them continue to grow, but I do like the direction that this team is headed right now. They're heading in the right direction. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally what we said we wanted at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we said that we didn't think this team was going to make the playoffs, but we wanted them to win a few more games than last year, which they already have one more than last year. And also we wanted them to be in games at the end of them, understanding that some they're going to give away.
Mm-hmm.
But others, they need to try to figure out how to get those, and because it is a learning process. And this is all to set up what could be a bright 2025, right? But as of right now, the people who are on the roster, this offensive line, a lot of these weapons, Legette, Coker, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Brooks, Chuba Hubbard, they're going to be back next year. Jadeveon Sanders,
Yeah,
they're going to be back next year, right? With Bryce Young. So how do they come together and learn how to win? And I think, it's starting to happen right on time. I think this past Sunday is absolutely the case of these guys gave the game away to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Like, I heard Bucky Irving say, hey, we should have put that boop away, right? Like I posted
Mm-hmm.
that video on Twitter, and I'm thinking they kind of gave it to you. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you had them down and out or anything like that. There were times where you led, but it's not like, the game really swayed in anybody's direction. But there was a stretch of time where the Carolina Panthers kept missing field goals and your point totals never moved.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a touchdown that was taken away from them. And they had 2 opportunities to walk off and win. And they didn't do that. I'm not sure what you were talking about, Bucky Irving, even though you had a really great game.
Heck of a day. Heck of a game.
But your team as a whole was not in a position to put that team away. Carolina Panthers gave you that one.
You said that term, putting teams away, and I felt like on Sunday against the Bucs, and even I will go back to the Germany game against the Giants, that it felt like in the second and third quarter that there was opportunities for Carolina to really distance themselves from their opponent.
Yes.
In both of those games. Yes. I don't know if it's Dave Canales maybe just getting too conservative with play calling. We know that the finishing in the red zone just hasn't been there over the last few weeks, but it felt like that Carolina really could have just stomped out their opponent and gave plenty of distance where, take all hope and away from your opponent. And put them in a situation where, like, hey, you know what? We can't run the football. Hey, we're down 2 scores. Now we have to throw the ball. You make things predictable for your defense, which only helps them out even more. I think that killer instinct, whether it comes directly from Dave Canales, the head coach, whether that comes from the players themselves, but they have to take advantage of the opportunities to put teams away. There's no reason why that going into halftime, that score should have been like 21-10. Or something along those lines, or even more. That's the thing that I'm talking about. They have to have that killer instinct to really put teams away and put them in situations where other teams are stressed and have to come back. Like, oh, crap, we're down 2 scores. All right, now we got to pass.
Yeah.
That's something I think that the Carolina Panthers need to learn to do because they controlled the game against the Giants in Germany. They literally ran through them, like literally. Like Chuba Hubbard had a career day, but you didn't bury that team fast enough. You let them creep back in. I felt in the first half they missed those opportunities. Again, Pinheiro missed field goals, the touchdown taken off the board. There were points, a lot of points and opportunities that were just left out there, and that's something I want to see this team continue to progress and learn how to do.
Dennis, do you remember the 2015 season for the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was magical.
Very magical. There was only 2 games I could remember in that particular season where if the Panthers, things kind of got tight in the regular season, where things kind of got tight and they had to kind of hunker down to get it together to go win at the end, right? It was the Giants game and it was the Saints game at the Saints. Other than that, why didn't many teams come back on that team?
They buried them.
That's true. But yeah. I think more so where I'm getting at is like, I understand what you're saying. The offense has to take the next step to make sure they're doing that. Special teams has to do their job to bury these field goals. A lot of burying teams also is taking their will from them offensively, which means your defense has to be on point.
Sure.
You're not wrong with what you're saying at all. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. But a huge part of putting teams away is not letting them score. Not letting them start off at the 7-yard line and go all the way down the field for 11, 12 plays on these long 7-8 minute drives and scoring and keeping the ball out of your offense's hands. Like, that's one of those things that that really needs to be addressed in the offseason. I know that we've been hard on Dave Canales, right? It's just criticism. I love what he's doing as a coach overall, though.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got this team going in the right direction, and I can see this team being a winner under him. The defense needs a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not just like before people were saying, well, injuries. Okay, cool. Mostly everybody is back besides the couple of guys who have season-ending injuries, right? And those are important pieces.
Oh, yeah. Like Derrick Brown's been out since week 1, but
those are important pieces.
But it's not like it's just happened.
This isn't just a personnel is missing problem. There's an issue with the defense, and whether it's the actual guys, maybe you just need something different. Maybe you need a different scheme. Maybe there's coaching that could be different. We addressed some of that on the last episode, but that's going to be a huge thing. Because another thing in these last couple of games that they've lost, they also are letting teams get over 20 on them. And that spells disaster for the Carolina Panthers when you let a team get over 20. The only reason why they were able to win with the Raiders, who got 22, is because the Raiders got that at the end, right?
Yeah.
And the Carolina Panthers had already put their foot on their necks and going a lot further. They need to learn how to keep teams under that magical number of 20. If they can, right? Yeah. And they're having a hard time doing it, which means their defense is going to need a lot of work in the offseason.
It definitely does. It needs to be addressed like crazy. And talking about coaching as well, there's something that you and I actually didn't discuss after the end of the last game. When the Panthers took the lead, when Bryce Young threw the touchdown pass to Adam Thielen, they go up 23-20. They kicked the ball out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, giving the Bucs the ball at the 30-yard line, as opposed to make the Bucs return the ball to use up clock. In those situations, either the clock is your friend or the clock is your enemy. If I'm Dave Canales, I want them to return the ball. Even if they get to the 30-yard line, they're chewing up time. That's what I need them to do, is use up time. And that's something that I didn't quite understand as well. I know we didn't talk about it. It's like, well, why didn't they force the Bucs on a kick return to use up time? Even though the Bucs had 3 timeouts, if 4 seconds comes off the clock, who knows what happens at that point? Okay, even if they start the ball at the 30-yard line, let's say they get a return to the 30. You're starting in the same spot, but time came off the clock. It's little things like that. That, to me, it's, like, again, still learning as a head coach. It's something we got to keep in mind, is that this is Dave Canales' first rodeo as a head coach.
Yeah.
This is his first rodeo as a head coach. So he has to understand that, hey, you know what? Time is my friend in this situation, not my enemy. Use it. Use it. Make the other team return the ball.
I kind of wondered in that situation, like you had some coverage gaffes in the last couple of weeks, especially the first kickoff against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
That led to their first score, right? So I kind of wonder if that's one of the things he's thinking about with that.
Possibly.
Like tackling as a whole on his team has been an issue. So I'm wondering if that's one of the thought processes. All right, let's not, let's just put it in the hands of our defense. Let's not, put that much pressure on the folks who are on special teams. Let's just kick it out of the back of the end zone and just put it right there. We'll deal with the consequences. But that also shows that you probably need to work on special teams as well if you don't trust them as much. Because here's the thing. Those guys who are playing on special teams, they're the backups for the guys who are playing on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you can't trust them tackling, you can't trust your first string tackling. You just got an issue. So there's a lot of changes on that side of the ball that's going to have to be made.
I will say this, though, Chris. The fact that we were frustrated after a loss, like, man, like we should have won that game. Not like, well, there's Panthers. They just lost another game. Ho hum, there go the Panthers again. It's like, no, this team is showing fight. They're showing competitiveness. And from everything we've read in the comment section and people that we talk to, it's like, man, there's more juice in the building. There's more juice in the locker room in terms of the expectation to win. We even heard Adam Thielen say it. It's like, hey, you know what? Like the culture and the mindset in this locker room is different than what it was last year. And I think people are noticing it and fans are noticing it as well. It's like, wait, you know what? We might not be winning some of these tight games, but we're getting right there. And I think it has people both excited, even though frustrated with the loss, but still excited about what's building. And I think Panthers fans, we haven't felt that in a long, long time. Yeah. It's been a minute since we felt this way.
And let's keep it real, right? Like for everything that we didn't like about Matt Rule, there was at least 5 wins in those seasons that he was a head coach, right? And the bar is low if that's what we're excited about, right? Because we got at least 5 wins. But also remember that first year in 2020, 5 wins, but like 8 other games were decided by 1 score or less, and many of those within 3 points. Panthers were in tighter games, and that was the point to where like we were frustrated at because we were just like, hey, this doesn't look good. We're gonna miss the playoffs for what that would have been a 3rd straight year. Like we need to do something with this, and now this is what we're celebrating. That just shows that the team is getting better.
Yeah,
and that shows how bad things were, because this is what we're celebrating.
Starving to be competitive. Just starving to be competitive.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think there's been a level of respect that's been earned a bit by the Panthers a bit around the league. It's not like, we can just walk all over this team like it was last year, even the year before that. I think there's a little bit of respect. It's like, you know what? This team is going to give you a fight. I think they've started to earn that a little bit.
Here's the part people aren't like really talking about as much. It's happening in Panther circles, but not outside the Panther circles. Trading Deontay Johnson, trading Jonathan Mingo felt like to other people, here the Carolina Panthers again, trading some of their better players again. What are they doing? What are they really getting for them? And what have those guys done? Right?
You and I played as many snaps on Sunday as Deontay Johnson did for the Ravens.
Which
that is a fact. He literally dressed and sat the bench the entire game, played 0 snaps. Even after Rashad Bateman got hurt, one of the receivers.
It's crazy, right? Like, and even though it seems like the same old thing, you're trading away a Christian McCaffrey, a DJ Moore, a Brian Burns. It feels like the same old thing. This wasn't the same old thing, right? Like these guys, this coaching staff, this front office led by Dan Morgan, they know what they're doing. They are not an issue, right? And again, a lot of the criticism that we have for Dave Canales is simply holding him accountable. He's in his first year. He's getting some grace from us, and they're going to be growing pains with him. But we're just kind of pointing out the things that we see. But overall, these guys have done a heck of a job identifying the people they need to identify. Like the fact that they didn't hold on to the ego portion of this guy was chosen in the second round last year.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is an undrafted free agent. Nope. This undrafted free agent is playing better than this guy.
Yep.
And we're not going to hold on just because of a draft grade or where somebody was drafted. Hey, you go over here, undrafted guy, you come here. And, if he was, I kind of wonder what the game's last couple of weeks would look like if Jalen Coker would have been dressed.
Yeah.
Right? Like what difference that would have possibly made if Jalen Coker didn't have the quad injury. So, it's this front office, this coaching staff has been doing a great job identifying and working with the guys that they are able to work with this season.
And David Moore playing in a spot had an awesome day against the Chiefs.
Yes.
A really good day. Then had some bad drops on Sunday against the Bucs. Couple of them. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Jalen Coker does with this team. It's amazing. Addition by subtraction. Addition by subtraction when it comes to Mingo and Deontay Johnson. Addition by subtraction, especially when it comes to Deontay Johnson. And, well, it's clear that he doesn't fit well into locker rooms if things aren't going his way. It's very evident if things aren't going his way. Pittsburgh, Carolina, and it looks like the same thing with Baltimore. I don't know if you saw some of Harbaugh's comments afterwards, after the game on Monday.
What did he say?
He alluded to the fact, like, well, we have some moving pieces and things we have to take into consideration. The reason why Deontay Johnson didn't play and stuff. It's like, oh, you guys gonna cut this guy? It gave. I mean, they still have a bye week coming up, but it gave me the impression of like, are they gonna look to get rid of this dude? Like, all right. I'm like, all right. If it's another team, it's like, man, you're just killing your own career, Deontay Johnson. It's not because you're not talented.
But think about most of what we thought the receiving core was going to be.
Yeah.
Amir Smith-Marset, he's not with the team anymore.
Nope.
Terrace Marshall Jr., he's not with the team anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we at the beginning of the year when we did our mock, 53, neither of us on our mock 53 had David Moore. I think maybe we said David Moore could possibly. It was like at the edge
you had
like,
him more. You had Moore as someone more likely to make the roster than I did.
But like he was at the edge of if he was going to make it or not. Like I even acknowledged like if he is like that last guy, he's somebody that's probably going to get cut when they bring up Jonathan Brooks or whomever that they needed to bring up at the time. And we didn't have we had Jalen Coker on the practice squad, which is where he started off at.
He was initial 53.
Initial
then they
53
waived
went
him.
to yes. But it's interesting to see that, and like most of those guys just aren't there right now.
Yeah,
it's not there.
It's really weird to see. We have not yet seen Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, and Adam Thielen on the field together.
All healthy at the same time.
And I'll throw Jadeveon Sanders into that mix too. Hopefully we get Coker and Jadeveon Sanders healthy this week. I'm like, now we can really start to see what this offense can be.
Yeah.
Really can start to see what this offense can be. I still think they need to add a wide receiver that could really stretch the field.
Yes.
Like a burner.
Yes.
I think someone that could take the top off. If they can add that into the mix this offseason in some way, whether it's through draft or free agency, whatever it might be, if they can add that to the mix.
Do you want
Hollywood
Hollywood Brown?
Guys we just mentioned? Woo!
Do you want Hollywood Brown? He's going to be a free agent.
I don't know.
The wide receiver free agent class is it's okay. There's names there, but the names are like all past their prime. Like you're not getting the best out of
DeAndre Hopkins.
You have I think T. Higgins is going to be a part of that too, but it's like, is he going to cost you too much? That's the only thing with
he
T.
might just be too expensive.
Is he going to cost? Because I would love to have T. But other than that, after that, it's like a lot of guys is like, what level are you really going to be able to contribute?
Yeah.
And but the engine to all that, Bryce Young.
Yeah. Dude's balling out.
Bryce Young's doing a great job.
Dude's balling out right now. Let's hope he keeps it going.
Look, we brought this up just really quick. PFF says over the last 2 weeks, he's leading the NFL in big time throws. So essentially, big time throws are the throws that are going down the field that are the most accurate, better ball placement. Tougher situations under duress, all that spliced in together. It's kind of like, this weird convoluted thing, a lot of moving parts, but they say that he's the best at that. So over the last 2 weeks, And he's starting to become the guy that we thought he could be at the beginning of last year. So
Yeah.
And we asked a couple of weeks ago for consistency. He's starting to show a little bit more consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Now we need more consistency. Finish off this year with the bang. And and that just means stay playing the way that you have been. He's going to throw another interception at a certain point.
Yeah.
But how do you bounce back from that?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we're going to be looking out for when it comes in.
Sunday against the Eagles.
Defense, please.
Saquon Barkley.
Tackle Saquon Barkley. Please tackle him.
Dude's going to put up 400 yards.
Don't let him jump backwards over your head. Don't let him flip over your head.
Oh.
Do any of that stuff. Like, keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, please. Please. Pretty please.
Pretty please. Make sure you check out our spot with a cheesesteak on top. Man, you're vegan. Make sure you check out Carolina Ford Dealers, our sponsor here of Panthers Playbook. Carolina Ford Dealers with the Ford F-150 on your team. It's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. We'll have an episode for you all on Sunday.
We don't have to drive 2 hours. We can actually be couch potatoes.
I have a sectional thank you.